Okay, I'm hoping that all of you can hear me. This is our last formal meeting before the final exam. And the things I would like to just go over today is to make sure you know what to focus on, because there's been quite a bit of stuff to learn. Before I start that, are there any other comments or questions? Okay. Well, basically, everything is in the final review document. And we will be going all the way back to the beginning, but mostly we'll be focused on the stuff that we've learned lately. Shouldn't be any real difficult questions. Everything's pretty straightforward. These anatomical structures, you need to know the function of each one, just the general function, not extreme detail or anything. Of course, basic structure of neuron and synapse, and most of the stuff that was on the first couple of exams. But the facts I'm going to give you here are very important, and they are, everything I tell you is something you need to know something about. We didn't really get a chance to talk about binding of two senses, such as smell and sight, but that is a human process that facilitates our ability to communicate and survive. And basically you just need to know what it is, not a lot of detail. The default mode network is something you also need to be familiar with, and it is part of the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, and the cingulate cortex. And its relevance is its involvement with the study of hallucinogens. And when the brain is in the default mode network, there is a loss of the sense of self. That is the major thing that happens. Of course, procedural and episodic memory. You need to know the difference between those two and what type of brain lesion might lead to a deficit there. Broca's area is expressive aphasia. Wernicke's area is receptive aphasia. Dyslexia is basically not being able to pick up on phonemics. Basal ganglia, just need to know that it is responsible for habitual behavior, procedural memories, and cognitive sequences.
What was that one?
The basal ganglia. So it, again, as you remember, is the traffic cop of the brain where everything has to go through it, and it pretty much determines what to send the signals.
Thank you.
Consolidation, that is when a memory sticks around in the hippocampus for a short, limited time, and then it is stored somewhere between there and the cortex. So just know the meaning of consolidation. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked briefly about the ventral stream, which is the visual stream because it's involved with the occipital lobe and is located on the medial side of the temporal lobe. And it is quite important in identifying what you are looking at. The where is the dorsal stream, and that's connected with the parietal lobe and the occipital lobe, and that is the part of the brain that tells you the where of how you're located in space and helps to make sense out of it. Basic brain lesions. Need to know what happens if there's damage to the left hemisphere. And basically, you're going to have either damage to Broca's or Wernicke's. And the result will be some type of aphasia. The right side damage, usually language isn't affected. And you may have heard that the right brain is more of the creative side, and it allows us to be able to abstract. Someone with damage to the right side of their brain would think in a concrete way. They wouldn't be able to pick up on sarcasm or metaphors, or they wouldn't get the joke, basically. Long-term potentiation, that is a process that happens in learning, happens at the level of the synapse, and it is actually a physical change in the synapse to make the brain more plastic or have plasticity, and that's how the brain can repair itself. And usually if that occurs in less than 6 months to a year, there's a good prognosis. But if it goes on longer without function returning, then it probably won't return as far as things like memory or other brain functions. Of course, you're gonna need to know your neurotransmitters and a little bit about them. And it's basically the main ones: the norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, glutamate, and GABA. Definitely need to know the difference in function between glutamate and GABA. GABA is a major inhibitory neurotransmitter. Glutamate is a major excitatory, and glutamate is involved in the long-term potentiation that I was just speaking of. Norepinephrine involved with pain, dopamine involved with reward, and serotonin with mood. And serotonin also plays a role in psychosis or hallucinating. Psilocybin, there was some writing on it, which is a hallucinogen that may have some medical benefit at some part. Basically, the thing that happens is it activates the default mode network. And there have been a lot of studies done with it. Okay. Of course, the lobes of the brain, one that you're going to hear over and over in the future is the frontal cortex or prefrontal cortex. And always associate that with executive function. That's really the part of the brain that overrides or can override any other part. So that is executive function. And know where the somatosensory strip is located in the parietal lobe. And know where the motor cortex is located in the frontal lobe and what their basic function is. And one you don't ever want to forget is the amygdala, and it's always associated with fear and with learning from fear. It's part of the limbic system, which is where emotions are controlled. The hypothalamus, you want to know that it controls the drives, basic drives, such as food, such as sex, and it controls the endocrine system. And of course, it is a part of the fight or flight response and the stress response. So it's an important part of the brain. Basically, you wouldn't know a lot about neurological examination at this point or a neuropsychiatric assessment, but it's important to know the general difference there. A neurological exam can be done by a physician or neurologist in a period of about 5 to 10 minutes, but a neurological assessment is a battery of tests that test for different things, and it may take a whole day to perform that or even longer than that if extra information is sought. But those are two important tools there. And remember that first video where we got the picture that the brain is able to do more than one thing at a time, and you do not have to be conscious to perform certain functions. The brain stem, for example, you do not have to be thinking about it to breathe or to regulate your heart beat. That happens automatically in the medulla of the brain stem. And the cerebellum has some connections there, but it's basically responsible for balance and movement. There won't be any detailed expectations about the cerebellum, but you definitely need to know that much, that if there's an injury there, then the person's going to have poor balance and their movement's not going to be coordinated. And it even gets a lot more complex than that with some of the processing of thoughts, but that wasn't really covered in this course. There is one question on sign languages. And basically what you need to know there is that it's a kind of a shortcut to communicating, and it's culture specific, and it's something that gets picked up pretty quick. So after a couple of generations, it's pretty much there to stay. So it's separate from the basic languages that have taken a considerably long time to evolve. And I hope that you wrote all this down. If you did, you're gonna do well on the exam. The examination's the 13th at 1 o'clock. And I'm gonna leave it open all day. And there will be 3 essay questions. And they also, there's an example of them in the review on the essay part, but I would advise you to know at least 3 areas of something that happens in the brain, know it very well, and you will also do very good on that part of the exam. And if you remember everything I told you today, you're in good shape. So you won't really need to do a lot of textbook reading or anything like that. Does anyone have any further comments or questions? If not, I'm going to let you go.
Can I
And-
talk to you after class?
Sure. Who is this?
Sequoia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, just stay on. I'll stay on. Anyone else need to speak with me? Everybody's gone, I think. Okay. Is Miranda still there, Betty? Oh, well, everybody's gone now. What can I help you with?
Hi. So I had been emailing you. I don't know if you're getting them. Have you seen any emails from me?
Yes, I know I've seen at least 1 or 2. I've got to go back and go over them. That was your assignments, or was there something else?
It was our latest exam 3 multiple choice section.
Mm-hmm.
We have our tests on Fridays, and I don't have any classes Friday on my schedule. So I could tell you everything that went on in my life and make up 1,000 excuses, but it really just slipped my mind because we don't have class on Fridays. And I know that is the day that you have decided to put our exams on. But
Actually, I think it's on a Monday.
I know our final is, but like the regular exam I've been taking in class, opening at Friday, and we just had practices. It really slipped my mind. I would just very, very, very much appreciate if you could possibly open it up just for 30 minutes so I could please take it.
Which exam was that again?
Exam 3,
Okay.
the one I just took.
Okay, when are you able to take it?
I can take it right now.
Okay, well, let me see if I can open it, and I'll keep it open a couple hours.
Okay, thank you so much if you can.
Okay, yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem. Let me know if it doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure it will.
Okay, and then also, I know I had emailed you a while ago, but my essay questions for exam 2, I have emailed you those, but in Canvas, it still says missing.
Okay, yeah, if it's email, I've got to go back and go through all that stuff.
Okay.
But I'm going to try to get everything graded this weekend.
Okay. You.
Okay. Are you ready for the exam?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what I can do.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. He, and have a good day.
You too.